everybody to do yoga with the Phoenix, and today we're going to be doing our series on powerlifting, and today's sequence is about the squats. Now, as you are aware, those of you that have watched my channel before, I start and finish my series with a 3-on mantra, and it's a lovely way to start and finish. That's why I do it. So we're going to get on with that. So if we come with our hands into Namaskar, then we're going to take a nice big deep breath in. Fabulous. Without further ado, we'll get straight on with the class. Now, as I say, the squat are really important, that we've got good flexibility in the hip, strength in the leg, of course, and the back. But we do a lot of strength work in the gym, so this is not really about strength. This is more about range of motion flexibility, and that's where yoga excels, of course. Yoga asana, that is. And the first posture that we're going to take is a standing posture called Hastasana. All you do with this posture is basically bring the feet together, take the hands up and stretch them up as far as they will go. Right, just stretching through the spine. It's really just a warm-up, stretching as far as you can go, nice and tall through the spine. Stretch the hands up even more. Feel everything engaged. Taking a few big belly breaths here, stretching up, stretching the spine out, stretching the lat, engage through the glutes and into the quads. Taking a nice big deep breath in, one more big stretch and forward fold. So just come to the side to see this. And the forward fold is more about pushing the backside out. Forward folding all the way down, nice and easy, just to get some looseness in the body. Stretching up through the lower back, pushing the head back down, looking for that stretch through the back. Nice big stretch. Once again, coming back to Hastasana, stretching up nice and tall. This time what we're going to do is we're going to take Ardha Chandrasana or half moon pose. And so stretch up once again, take the body over to the right hand side, the arms, and stretch the right hand up and over. Now, from this pose, you can see that I want to be flat. I'll just turn around. I want to be flat so that the shoulders and the pelvis are in line. Now, the posture itself is driven by the hip. When you're doing this, don't move around. I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes. Push the pelvis out. Using the butt to keep the pelvis square and forward. Coming up out of that, big stretch up once again, over to the other side. So once again, from the side view, pushing the pelvis out from the front view, pushing the pelvis out. And coming back to forward to our standing posture, and then once again folding forward. We're coming into a forward fold. This time what we're going to do is we're going to take the hands around and we're going to place them behind the heels so that the fingers are facing forward. And then what we can do is drop the head down and pull the body down. Pull the body down. Push the pelvis up. Pull, use the bicep strength. Push the knees back, lift the pelvis up. See if you can lock the knees out. Suck the tummy in. Big stretch into the, haul down the back, right into trapezius. And hamstrings, of course, whole posterior chain. Stretching up now. All the way up and back, and then take the hands back so that they come onto the butt. From here, push the butt forward, and we're now taking our back bend. Pushing the pelvis forward, pressing the elbows together. Looking for the wall behind you if you're in a room. Taking a few deep breaths here. Good. And then from here, we're going to take a little flow, and the flow that we've chosen is it's called the classic, sometimes referred to as classic, the classic Surya Namaskar. But it does involve a little bit of lunging, and so that's why I've chosen it for this flow. We're still warming up the body, taking a nice big deep breath in, and then folding forward. Now you have the option of either stepping back into a plank or jumping back into a plank. Whichever one suits you, that's fine. And then from here, we're going to come down into chaturanga, which is a low plank. Coming down low plank, toes out, taking a nice big deep breath in, upward facing dog. Tuck the toes over, downward facing dog. Taking the right leg high and bringing it forward, dropping the left knee, lunge. Crescent lunge, pushing the pelvis forward. Good, breathing out that. Then just taking the other side. Crescent lunge on this side. Folding forward. Coming back to tabletop posture, tucking the toes over, downward facing. Few breaths here, downward facing, stretch the back out. Look forward, jump a step forward, coming into a standing posture, backward bend, forward fold, jump back, plank, upward facing, downward facing, taking the right leg high, bringing it forward, dropping the knee, coming into a lunge. Folding forward, taking the other leg back and around, coming into lunge this side. Fold forward. This time what we're going to do is we're just to add on a little back bend. So we're going to drop the chin and the chest to the ground. Walk the knees forward. Breathe here. Drop the legs down, and now we're coming into a cobra pose. Just lifting the chest up. Back to a tabletop. Then downward facing dog. Breathing here. From here we're going to just look forward, jump the feet forward, back into forward fold. Now we're just going to swivel round into a chair posture. Just warming up the legs and back to standing. Good. One more time through with that sequence. Big breath in, forward fold, jump a step back into plank, low plank, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right leg high. Drop the knee, lunge. Crescent lunge it's called. Coming back, other side. Dropping the chin and the chest to the ground. Walk the knees forward. Slip the legs out, Bhujangasana. Coming up into tabletop. Tuck the toes under. Downward facing. Then we're just going to eye our target and jump forward. Stretching up. Bring the hands down and relax. Alright, so it should be a little warm up now. We're going to do a little bit of strength into the legs, and this posture is called chair pose, Utkatasana in Sanskrit. And so what we do with this posture is take the arms forward, stretch them forward, and so we want the shoulder blades to come round. So we're stretching through the trapezius, ideal for squats. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to have the feet around about shoulder width apart, and we're going to just sit down as if we were sitting down in a chair. But the objective here is to keep we don't want to be forward like this, we want to keep the back back. Breathe here. And stand up out of that. Alright, so we're going to take it a little bit one step further, and we're going to, sometimes this posture referred to awkward pose, and those of you who have done Bikram yoga will know it as that. So we're going to take our feet and stand up on the tips of the toes, or on the ball of the feet really, not on the tip of the toes, unless you're a ballerina. And then take the hands out, stretch out. Now we're testing the balance here a little bit. We're going to come down as deep as we can, keeping the back against the wall. Coming down nice and deep, holding here. High on the tippy toes. Stretch out, lift the back back. And come out of the posture. Fabulous once again. Coming back to Tadasana. Alright, from here we're going to come into the hip a little bit. So firstly we're just going to come forward, stretching up, stretch back, nice big back bend, fold forward. Jump or step back to plank posture. Holding in plank. And then we're going to see if we can jump directly into an Asian squat or Malasana. Jumping into Malasana, squatting down. Opening up the hip. As you can see how beneficial this will be if you could master this posture. This would be the one to take on. Right? If you've got any issues with your depth in your squat, this is the posture for you. Good. Take the hands in front of you again. Jump back to plank. Holding plank. Now push the shoulders around. Working serratus anterior and working nice and strong. Pushing the shoulders, contracting. Pushing the chest into the shoulders down. Strong in the legs. From here we're going to come into a side plank. And if you're finding this very straightforward, you can come into star posture. As you can see, as soon as I do, I start to fall over. Good. Coming out of that, and then we're just going to take the other side. Turning around, back to plank, holding plank. Drop the knees and then slide into a child's posture. Allowing the back to open up. Alright, coming up into a tabletop posture, we're just going to loosen up the back with some dynamic movement, cat-cow. All the breath in, out. All the breath in. All right. Time to open up a little bit more work into the hips now. So we'll take the right leg forward and we'll take the left leg back. So it's more like dropping the knee back. And then from here we're going to allow the right leg to float open. And then we're going to come down if it's available, stay there if it's not, onto our elbow, or both of them if it's available, otherwise the left hand side. Drop the head. Coming out of that, and then just floating across the front leg, so straightening the front leg, let the head drop down, hamstring stretch. Bring the leg in front of you and drop it down, and then come down, drop the butt down to the ground if it's available. The left leg is straight out behind the hip. That's going to get into the hip flexors, which is what we want. And then coming down. Good, coming out of that. And then we're going to do the same sequence on the other side. So the first posture is called the lizard pose, and it's because of that sort of gait that a lizard has. It's kind of one of the gaits of the lizard pose. That's why it's got that word name. Taking the left leg forward. So take it forward so it's more or less in line with the hands. And then you can take the right leg back. So I want to get the energy into the hip flexors on the right hand side. And I want the left knee in this instance to float. So I'm on the edge of my foot. So I want the knee to fall open so that I'm getting a big stretch and a big opening into the hip. From here, you can stay here if that's all you've got, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's always about the form. It's the same as weights. If you're doing too heavy for you and the weight's out, too heavy and your form is rubbish, then you might as well drop the weight. The ego's forcing you to do a weight that you're not capable of. Drop the weight down, get your style right, get your form right. Then, once you've got that nailed, then come back to a heavier weight. This is the same. We don't go for depth if we go for depth, it's never depth over form, it's always form over depth. It's just the same as weight, it's always technique over weight. So once you've got your technique or your form sorted, then you can go for depth or weight, same. And then coming down. For me, yoga and weight training or strength conditioning or powerlifting or whatever you want to call, well, powerlifting different of course, is yoga, because we're doing yoga posture whilst we're doing in a dynamic fashion. We're definitely working with the breath, and we're definitely in the moment. When you've got 150 kilos or whatever you can squat on your back, you're in the moment. You have to be. All right, coming up out of that, and then we're going to take the leg in front and doing this posture, which is called sleeping swan on this. Actually, hold on, I forgot. We're going to do the hamstrings. Too much talking. Hamstring on this side, drop over. All right, and then from there, now we're going to come into the sleeping swan. Fabulous, coming out of that. Now, this time what we're going to do is we're just going to sit in a position that looks kind of like this. And this is just a little twist after that movement there. So we're just going to take the body around and twist. Coming down, looking the opposing way, taking a little twist. Good, coming out of that. It's called deer pose. And swinging the legs around, other side. Turn the shoulders around so that they're in line with the top of your mat. And then come down. Good. Swinging around from there, and we're going to do a little bit of strengthening and conditioning work into the back. So the first posture we're going to take is called Pullasalabhasana, but I've changed it a little bit because what I want you to do is imagine that you're holding onto a bar as you would do, pull the bar down. So pulling the bar down, lift the chest up, lift everything up. Off the ground as high as you can go. Good, let it go. Look over to the right hand side, left ear on the ground, relax. Bring the chin onto the ground, and then what we're going to do is pick up the feet or the ankles. So you've got your ankles now, and then kick into the hands, lift up off the ground as high as you can. Let go of that, looking over to the other side. Dropping back onto your butt onto your heels, and then from here we can take the head down, opening up the back after those strengthening back postures. Take the hands around and just let them fall down by the side. Grab the heels and bring the top of the head onto the mat. Then from here, pull on the heels. So we're actually pulling on the heels. And then lift the pelvis up as high as it will go. Suck the tummy in, roll forward like a wheel. Good, coming out of that, stretching up, standing nice and tall here, with your feet and knees around about shoulder width apart. Take the hands onto the back, lift up and push the pelvis forward. Look for the wall behind you, whatever's behind you. Good. And then come to the top of your mat. Now, a lot of you will be able to get a lot deeper than me in this posture. This posture, I find there's not a lot of depth for me in this one. But what I'm going to ask you to do is bring your knees together and then drop your butt down in between them. So for me, that's about it. My butt's not getting on the ground. So I just stay here, and then I can come back a little bit to feel the energy in the front of the leg, into the knees, into the ankles. So it's still opening, it's still doing its job for me, regardless of how far I come back. For those of you that have got the butt on the ground in between the heels, you can come all the way back. All the way back, and that's about it for me. Stretching through the quadricep into the knees and ankles. Good. Slide forward out of that. And then now we're just going to slip our legs forward in front of us. Taking, in this instance, taking the right leg forward and the left leg comes up into the inner thigh. From here, we're going to bend the knee, the right knee, interlace the fingers behind underneath the foot, bring the forehead to the knee, and then if you've got anything left, then you can push the knee down. Stretching out the back there and bending it as well at the same time. Other side, foot up. And let that go. All right. Feet in front. Take the hands behind you and then just squeeze the shoulder blades together. Point the toes away from you and lift the butt up. Reverse the plank. Butt's working really hard now. Squeeze up through the butt. Let it go. Relax, just let it go. Big deep breath in, folding forward. Pick up whatever's available to you, might be your ankles, could be your feet, whatever it is. And then we're going to keep the knees down, taking a nice big deep breath in and allow yourself to fold forward over the legs. Now a lot of teachers and a lot of classes will say you must keep your back straight as you come into this, and I'm not going to argue with that. That's fine. However, what we want to do is we deliberately want a back bend. So what not back forward fold. So what I want is I want you to just allow the back to open up. You can swivel the butt around so that you can get more space, and then you can pull the head down so that you will definitely get back bend through the back, forward bend through the back. And that's what we want. We want to open up the back after that, a lot of back bending. And now you'll also feel this in the hamstring, so we're just cooling the body down now. And let that go. Take the right leg up and over the left. Keep the left leg sticking out in front of you, and then wrap the left arm around the thigh. The right arm comes to the base of the spine. Lift up nice and tall, twist. Twist. Taking the tension out of the lower back. The lower back gets worked an awful lot in the powerlifting, both in the deadlift and squat. So yeah, two big exercises into the lower back. So we need it to be loose and strong. Other way, lift, twist. Let go of that. Coming down, and then just take the hands out and stretch out the body as much as it will go. Stretch, 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 let it go. Bring the hands down by the side, palms facing up. Shavasana. Just letting it all go now. Ready for your next big session in the gym, or maybe you've just done one. Either way, you can do this at any time. You can do it, at night time, after your gym day, or you can do it before. It's really good to do it beforehand. Really, really good to do it beforehand, before you get in. I know that often we're strapped for time. The last thing that we want to do is a bunch of stretching exercises. However, if you want to increase your mobility and lift, and consequently your lift, this is the way to do it. I've done so much work with, not so much with strength athletes, but a lot with a triathlete, and cycling as a strength exercise, and I can get massive movement in their PBs just purely by doing yoga with them. So if you constantly always sit with your right leg in front and right-handed, then just take the other one round. And then we're going to just sit nice and tall here. Feel the energy in the spine. Bring the hands into Namaskar, taking a nice big deep breath in. Keep the prayer with the heart center. May we have love in our hearts. Bring the prayer to the lips. May we have truth in our speech. Bring the prayer to the forehead. May we have gratitude in the mind. Bring the prayer back down to the heart center and bow the head. Namaste. Thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe to the channel and get more and more stuff like this as we move forward. Happy lifting! Woohoo!